Vinegar syndrome all over me. Feels good. Alright, guys. What is going on? Welcome back to Reject Films. Back with another Vinegar syndrome review for you guys. Gonna try to keep cranking these fucking things out and get through the whole collection eventually. Going by request first, doing them differently every time. Last time I did not show myself. I just did the background for Tammy and the T-Rex, showed clips of the movie while I talked, showed the death scenes, all that good shit, and was able to look up some information during that process. Decided to show myself this time, actually even shade for you guys and everything. So yeah, even cut myself right there. Yeah, fuck. Alright, anyway, I hope you guys are enjoying these reviews. They're not getting a lot of views, but I appreciate those who are taking the time and actually watching the whole thing, because I put a lot of work into these for you guys and for myself, because I love Vinegar Syndrome and I love you guys. So I do this for myself, I do this for you, and I got nothing better to do with my time. So yeah, I'll stray off and do some other reviews here and there. Hopefully some things start coming in for review once things get rolling again in the film, community, and things open back up, theaters and productions of films get going. I've gotten a couple emails from like smaller companies, but I've passed on some things, some series stuff, and like second and third seasons of shit that I've never even watched the first one of. So anyway, you guys don't care about none of that shit. You're here for the review of The Suckling, and we'll get to that. So The Suckling is a 1990 horror film directed by Francis Terry, who went on to do absolutely nothing else. I think he said he worked on a few projects, but is not credited in shit. So his only directorial feature, first and last one, and a lot of the cast didn't do anything else either. The person who played the Suckling, what's the name here? There's an interview with him. Video interview, blah, 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 Michael Gingold or whatever. He's done some other shit and still working and things like that. Writer for many different horror magazines and things like that. I think he wrote for like Fangoria, Warzone type shit. Anyway, but other than that, nobody in this movie really did much else. And yeah, there's about a 12-minute interview with the director and about a 13-minute interview with the guy that played the Suckling, that Michael Gingold. Is that right? Already forgot his fucking name. Yeah. And archival image gallery, and that's really about it for features on here. So yeah, pretty bare bones as far as Vinegar Syndrome releases go. Not even a commentary or anything. So, but you do get this nice slipcover. You can feel the Suckling right there. You can feel the teeth. This is kind of like a gloss finish in there. You can feel the teeth on the back. You can feel the embossing on the spine. You can feel the eyes a little bit. So beautiful slipcover as always from Vinegar Syndrome, like they always do. They never disappoint in the slips. You got some alternate artwork here. And there's your insides. That's what they look like. That's what we all look like inside. We all have 2-disc and reverse art. So anyway, there is the Vinegar Syndrome release. As far as the presentation of the film, if you guys are fans of grain, you're gonna love this fucking movie, because it is grainy as shit. I don't mind some grain here and there. It gives it that old school feel. I'm fine with it, but some of these scenes in here are just bad. I know they did the best with what they had, to work with and everything. It does say it was a new, I think just 2K, and it's from a 16 millimeter. So I know transferring over from 16 millimeter to the scan they have now isn't going to be as good as transferring from a 35 millimeter. I do understand that completely. But it is by far, granted, I haven't watched a whole lot of my collection of Vinegar Syndrome. It is by far the worst transfer so far. The audio is really good, but the video quality, not great. Trying to compare it to something. I mean, I've only watched probably 10 to 20 of these Vinegar Syndrome releases, and like I said, this is the grainiest of them all. And I'll start by saying my least favorite that I've watched so far. I'll try to make these reviews pretty short. I'll try to keep them in between 15 and 30 minutes, depending on the film and how much I want to talk about it, obviously. But there's not a whole lot of detail to go into as far as the characters, because like I said, nobody did jack shit else. So yeah, pretty trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to say before I go into the story and all that shit. No, I think that's about it. Anyway, this movie cost about $50,000 to make. It was like a pretty rushed production and pretty amateur, like I said, first time director, only time director. And from the interview, he didn't really know what he was getting into. He was in way over his head, kind of panicked. I don't think he was real proud of this movie at first, but during the interview, it sounds like he came to accept it and kind of adore it a little more than he originally did. So that's good. At least he's not completely ashamed of it anymore. But move on to a brief synopsis. Pretty simple story in this one, guys. It pretty much is a couple goes to a whorehouse, brothel, whatever, / abortion clinic. You got the abortion clinic in the back and the brothel in the front, or whatever. And she goes to have her baby aborted. She kind of starts having second guesses once they arrive and everything, and then she suddenly passes out, wakes up, and the operation is over. She's been aborted, the procedure's been done, and she's pretty pissed at it. She's pissed at her boyfriend for letting it happen and going, telling him to do it, or whatever. So, shortly after the fetus is flushed down the toilet, that's when everyone gets trapped inside the house and starts getting taken out. That's pretty much your synopsis of this film. They can't leave. The whole house is covered with this, I don't know what the fuck it is. It looks cheesy as shit from the outside, but kind of cool from the inside. That the Suckling has put around the windows and doors and all this shit. So they can't leave the house. They're pretty much fucked. It can go through any of the drains and all that kind of shit, as it's a small fetus. Also, one thing to note about this, I don't know why I keep holding it in my hand, I have nothing else to do. A movie is going to be really good when it starts with the opening crawl, like your Star Wars crawl, with the introduction of the film type thing, telling you what you're about to watch, pretty much, and everything like that. So, yeah, you do have that, where you get to read before you watch the movie. So that's cool, right? Whatever. So, anyway, yeah, the effects in this actually weren't too bad on the creature, and I will say, aside from the very beginning, when it's going down the drain, you do see a string attached to it. And I kind of looked it up in like the goofs on IMDb, which this, by the way, got like a 4.8 or some shit on IMDb. And that wasn't mentioned. That was kind of surprising, because I noticed that right away, even rewound it and watched it again. You see the string pulling the fetus out of the drain. But hey, it's a $50,000 movie with a bunch of people that didn't know what the fuck they were doing. So, I probably couldn't do any better. Anyway, moving on to the story. So you got a bunch of people trapped in a house, like 5 or 6 people. I don't even fucking remember. I don't remember really any of their names either, because you don't give a fuck about any of these characters. And I think that's what really killed it for me in this movie, is I really didn't care whether any of them lived or died. I really didn't. You have no backstory on these people. You don't really, you feel nothing for any of them. For me, if a film is going to be bad, I at least want to care about the people in it, or it at least has to be really entertaining. And this has fell kind of short on both of those for me, especially, like I said, not really caring about anybody. Entertaining wise, it just, I don't know. Something about the pacing of this movie I really didn't care for. The kills aren't too bad. We'll get to that in a second. I'll show you guys the kills. I don't want to spoil everything right out of the... Can't ever fucking talk. At the beginning, so I'll hold off on that a little bit for those who have not seen this film. But they spent about 10 grand of their budget on the effects, and that really shows for the rest of the film. The acting in this movie is just terrible. There was a couple people that were okay, but for the most part, it was like they were reading their lines off of a cue card and asking what they should do next, and they really didn't know how to deliver their lines. It was crazy. I don't know. The acting was fucking terrible. I don't think that's how they said it. I will put a clip of some of the acting in there for you guys so you can see how bad it is.
Nightmare reoccurs.
At best, approximately 2 hours.
How does somebody that young develop hyper-REM neurosis?
Frank hasn't told you about it?
No, I just arrived here.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, you heard about the massacre in that brothel about a week ago?
I haven't read anything about it, but I heard it covered on the news. You know, being an intern keeps me rather busy.
She's not up yet?
Not yet.
When she comes to, you leave. Understand?
Yes.
Okay, so, moving on. Hope you guys enjoyed the little clip or clips or whatever I decided to put in there of the wonderful acting that you guys are in store for. You do have some, I'll say, like, quabbles or whatever. You have some people at each other within the group as well. Yeah, so you do have, like, confrontation between people inside the group. The character of Candy, who I guess was, like, one of the main prostitutes in this brothel. She just is a complete bitch the whole time and all this kind of shit, and everybody's always telling her to kind of shut the fuck up and everything like that. So she got a little bit annoying here and there. She's not very attractive for being, whatever. Anyway, so, and you do have one of the John's customers, whatever, who is kind of like your douchebag rich guy. I kind of think of like the what is it, the Dawn of the Dead remake, where you got the one guy who doesn't really want to contribute and but wants everybody to help him, kind of thing. Kind of the same character as that. And eventually he tries to help a little bit, but ends up trying to fend for himself there towards the latter part of the film, where he enters this labyrinth of like webbing and all kinds of weird shit, and things don't turn out too well for him. But again, we'll get to that when we get to the kills. I'll show you guys what happens, what I'm talking about. Again, if you guys haven't seen this movie, definitely turn away before that. But yeah, I'm probably gonna wrap this review up pretty quick. With adding some of that stuff in there, we should be, yeah. But I try not to make these reviews too long for you guys. I just want to give you guys a general idea of what the movie is about, what you're in store for, whether or not it's worth the purchase. I know a lot of people are collecting Vinegar Syndromes right now, like myself, just to collect them. And I'm actually going through and watching them now. I don't know if I'll be selling the ones I didn't care for as much, because I really love this company, and I really love supporting this company, and I love having a completed collection. I'm only like 5 away with slips to complete the whole fucking collection. I don't know if I'll ever find a couple of them, but yeah, once the creature gets bigger, which it gets like full size really quick, that's when you really start to get the kills. And those creature effects, not too bad for a guy in a suit, and a guy in a suit with a mechanical, shit up in the head, moving the mouth and eyes and all that stuff. Wasn't too bad. I mean, you can definitely tell that's where they spent a majority of their money. Like I said, they spent 10 of their 50 grand on this creature. So The fetus effects were actually pretty cool at the beginning as well, which I guess they built the sewer stage so they could actually control the creature from underneath and everything, work it as a puppet type deal, and it was actually kind of nasty looking. It was pretty sick. So I mean, I definitely give this movie props on that. Not by far the worst movie that I've seen in my life. No. I can't recommend purchasing this one without seeing it. I mean, of course, I do, because I just buy everything Vinegar Syndrome puts out, because I love Vinegar Syndrome. But I would say if you have a chance to stream this one first, I don't know, I did not look on, you might check Prime and Tubi and all that good shit, see if it's streaming somewhere. If anybody knows where it's streaming, drop a comment down below, help other people out if you're still watching. Yeah, I'd say for, this is like $23 on Vinegar Syndrome's website. Of course, you don't get the slip anymore. It is out of print. But yeah, stream this one first, guys. If you're kind of on the fence about it, you guys don't like to blind buy shit, if you're not 100% sure you're going to like it, I say definitely stream it first. Like I say, I don't give ratings unless I have to on movies. I just always tell you to stream it, buy it, whatever. This is definitely not a run out and buy right away film. Not in my opinion anyways. I know a lot of people really love this movie, and I appreciate that. And I'm pretty easy on movies, guys. I know what it takes from talking with so many people who work in the film industry. I do not myself, obviously. But going to all the conventions and everything like that, and talking with actors and directors and crew members and things like that, I know how grueling it is to work on a film. So I do appreciate the effort that they put into this, and I can appreciate the love that they had for making this film, the long hours, all that kind of stuff. I really understand, but for me, it was missing something. It was missing that certain charm. Movies can be bad, but as long as they have that certain charm to them, it kind of holds a place for you or whatever. Maybe if I would have grown up with this film, seen it earlier on, but first time viewing, it didn't do much for me. So anyway, I'll leave you guys now with some of the kills from this film. I'm only going to do the ones that include the Suckling. There's a couple other kills that are people killing people, things like that. I'm not going to put those in there. And there's definitely some credit type stuff too. I will try to interweave those in with where I see fit. And yeah, there's also some other stuff going on in this movie to do with like insane asylum, and it was kind of interesting that according to the director, they had pretty much free run of this hospital, which had like all of its equipment in it and everything, and they didn't do a whole lot with that. I felt like they could have really done a whole lot if, having free range to do whatever the fuck you want to do in this, closed down hospital, like very recently closed, and you could have done whatever you wanted. You could have made this movie in the hospital, which always gives a creepier vibe than, just a fucking whorehouse. But good premise. One other thing is, this is not an anti-abortion film, according to the director. He was asked about that early on, and he kind of rolled with it a little bit, but it was never his intention. I thought upon my first viewing that maybe this was an anti-abortion film, but it was just an idea that he had out of fucking nowhere. And the premise of this movie is actually pretty good. Like I said, I think if they would have done it in this hospital instead, it might have turned out a little better, because movies that take place in a hospital definitely give off a creepier vibe. They've always been unsettling, at least to me. You could have definitely done a lot more with it. You would have had a lot more room to work with and everything, but is what it is. It's the past. You can't change that. So anyways, The Suckling, guys, 1990, not a high recommend. I highly suggest streaming this one first wherever you can. Unless you're a diehard Vinegar Syndrome collector like myself, then obviously just fucking buy it. Not a complete waste of time, but I've seen better, I've seen worse. And let's end this with some of the kills. And yeah, I'm just going to end it there. So peace, love, happiness to everybody. I'll catch you guys next time. Check out these kills.
You're alive!
Ha ha ha.